I think life is about perspective. So, I mean, when there's disagreement, it's because people have different perspective. And, you know, it's all about being willing to accept new perspective. And that's how change comes about, because people can see different perspectives and respect and consider other people's feelings based off of those perspectives they have. I think that, you know, it has been very difficult in this family, especially kind of, you know, dealing with being in the quarantine, all of us together, but also dealing with constantly being exposed to the media that has been getting, coming out over the last few months. I mean, it's definitely, you know, we in Philly, you know, this is a place where riots and raids have happened, but also peaceful protest has happened. This is a place where, you know, they called in the National Guard here. Like, I'm driving through my hood, I'm riding my bike through my hood, and it's Army, you know, and I mean, people with, you know, I mean, like all that heavy personnel. Like, I'm not used to seeing stuff like that. You know, a blessing of, you know, my upbringing is I had a chance to be in a lot of spaces where I felt comfortable in my blackness. And, you know, thanks to my parents, they put me in spaces like that. You know, a lot of my early educational experiences were in diverse classrooms with teachers who were very resourceful and who believed in me and who pushed me and challenged me and stuff like that. So a lot of times I always felt comfortable being black. And then I went to, you know, a charter school in West Philly down the block, you know what I mean? And it was a black student body, but, you know, a lot of the staff weren't, you know, there wasn't a lot of black educators in there too. So a lot of times I definitely felt like I've been in comfortable positions where everyone around me was in an understanding of my blackness, and I felt comfortable in that position. So it wasn't really until the last few years, as, you know, I remember and I reflect on Trayvon Martin and Sandra Bland and all of these other things that I've seen, Oscar Grant, and all of these other instances that I've seen as a young person growing. Now I look back and I reflect on it as a 21-year-old, and I think about, wow, these things were really affecting me, you know, even in my day-to-day, feeling afraid when cops pull behind me, or feeling like, you know, if I'm in a certain neighborhood where there's a really strong police presence, that something is going to happen, or looking at other black and brown people who are dressed or carry themselves a certain way and feeling differently about them. You know, all of these are things that, you know, they put into your head, and the way that they teach you and the way that they mold you in these educational environments a lot of times. And so, you know, I just wasn't really in the know. And unfortunately, fortunately, I have never really dealt with any situations like that were traumatizing for me necessarily. So I never felt like personally attached to it. It was always an outsider looking in. But, you know, as you know, the quarantine and not being able to be involved in the things that you're usually involved in that take away your attention and your, you know, need your time and your energy, being in the house and being on your phone for hours and scrolling through that and seeing that, and really getting a wake up call like, yo, now I'm a 21-year-old black man in this country. What am I about to do? Because if I don't have a plan, then I'm either going to end up in the dirt or behind some bars. And, you know, me being a good kid in Philly and being raised with a lot of love, you know, I mean, I still saw that there were opportunities in my life where I was in certain positions where certain things could have went differently for me. You know what I mean? And I never put myself in a position for those things to happen to me. It's just when you live in the city, when you riding on Scepter, when you in high school, you moving around the city and stuff like that, and you look like a young growing black man, I mean, that makes you a target. And a lot of times, you know, those things are things that we feel all the time, so we're so numb to it. And so they become normal for us. So like when we had a chance like this to be sitting there, and it's like literally just you and your phone, and you looking at these things and this media and all of this stuff in the midst of a pandemic and in the midst of, you know, all of these political things that have been going on and things like that in the world and the country and all of that. It's so much, it's so overwhelming. So I definitely think it has taken a toll on our family, you know, and for my parents also being musicians and creators, I know that they look at it from a certain lens because, you know, a lot of their art is a reflection of their reality. You know, and a lot of times, you know, with artists, the way we contribute to movements like this and spreading knowledge and awareness about what's going on for Black people in this country and how we're going to respond to certain ways in which we're being mistreated and miseducated and not given the same opportunity and being oppressed. And systematically oppressed. You know, a lot of that we reflect on in our lives, and we look at those situations and we take our feelings that we have and the things that we've learned and the knowledge and all of that, and then we express them with our creativity, and we put that into the music, and we use that to help push the message, promote, you know, the knowledge, the story, the narrative, you know, and that's how we, you know, push the culture. You know, and a lot of times you have a lot of Black artists, like you think about even in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. First of all, the first person I think about right now is Marvin Gaye. Like you think about artists like Marvin Gaye, and, you know, a lot of his brand initially being, you know, R&B love, sex symbol Marvin Gaye, and then going through that transition when he educated himself or became very in the know of what it meant to be a Black man in this country. And then you see songs like Inner City Blues, you know what I mean? It's like, it changes that perspective, you know what I mean? So all of these experiences, you turn it into knowledge. And then you take that knowledge and you express it creatively. And, you know, that's the beauty of having musicians and creators and artists and things like that here, because they help give you guys, or give the people, media people who create media, they give the people, you know, their form of their expression, what they want to say. And they use the platform they have as those creators, as those artists, to further promote their message. And it's a really strong opportunity for them to really speak up for the right things. And I think for me, you know, I go to school for education, you know, and I think a lot of the issues that we face in this country, they start in the educational system, because a lot of students are dealing with passive aggression, microaggressions, you know, unnecessary disciplinary action, all of these things. Like, you know, I just seen something on Instagram the other day about a girl who was sentenced to violating parole for not completing online assignments. I mean, and then got sent to jail. I mean, it's just like, it's that same type of thing. You know, we're being oppressed in this system. And, you know, you think about school is that really big chunk of your life where you're in those formative years and it's shaping you. And a lot of times when you're going through those experiences, a lot of students are dealing with issues and troubles from outside of the classroom too, that they face because of the ways in which it's just different in this country, being Black and living, you know, and not knowing about certain things and not being in the know and not being accepted and being able to be incorporated in an equitable level. You know what I mean?